Hi, this is Niels on Dynasty. Buy some silver and some platinum. Like, share, and subscribe. And be kind, helpful, and grateful at all times. I'm just going to share a little bit of the story. It's about vibrations, harmonics, stuff like that. It's interesting. That's all I can say. Haven't looked into it much. I do have my opinions, but you're not going to hear them. You're going to hear these guys because I'm going to reserve my opinions, keeping myself so that way you guys don't harass me.
With different levels of creation, or what Dr. Karim calls planes of nature. So this is called the Ibrahim Karim Universal Pendulum, and it actually combines shapes of multiple different plane levels: the physical, the vital, the emotional, astral, the mental, the causal, the spiritual, and the divine levels, that all have particular geometries that resonate with them. This means that by using the correct geometric form, the ancient Egyptians understood they could create a direct resonant exchange, like with an antenna, based on the sacred geometry. Sacred geometry became an antenna to resonate with a particular higher plane. So, for example, if we take a look at this level, what in the human being is the emotional body and emotional function, and referred to as an outer plane in the Western tradition as the astral plane. Astral coming from a root aster, meaning star, meaning a source of light. And the forms that connect to that are the form of a hemisphere or a pyramid. So when they use the form of a pyramid, it wasn't just for pyramid power as an energy, but what pyramid power actually is the negative green ray that was identified by the French, the penetrating carrier ray. That comes from this particular form. Both a hemisphere and a pyramid create that negative green emanation. But the reason why that form is creating the emanation is because the shape itself acts like an antenna for the astral plane. And that's why they knew further that by modifying the shape on the pyramid, by making a slight indentation in the center of the four faces of the pyramid, it's so slight you can't see it from the ground. You have to see it from the air. And from the air, you can see here the slight indentation at the faces of the major pyramids at Giza Plateau. What that did is it changed the resonance of the pyramid from the general astral plane, where the lower astral has some questionable energetics, to resonate with the higher astral. And when you do that, it cleans up the energy that's being projected by the pyramid. So one of the great secrets is the geometries act like antennas to resonate with higher planes of creation, and then as a secondary effect, they will emanate through the shape-caused wave a particular vibration that is the result of that particular connection. And they knew enough about it, in fact, to work not just with the general negative green ray, as we see here, but actually to work with sub-bands, or sub-energies inside the general band. So the placement of the king's chamber inside the Great Pyramid is not in the exact middle, where you might expect it to be. It's not in the middle, it's about 6 degrees, 15 minutes off of center. And so that's to get a particular carrier wave within the negative green band that's a sweet spot in the entire band. A sweet spot for being able to connect a person through a carrier wave to higher dimensional levels, which is why that place in the king's chamber was used for these initiation rituals, as described by the Freemasons and others. So this is the vertical and horizontal wave pendulums. For each of the bands, the energy may either propagate parallel to the Earth's surface, we call it a horizontal wave, or it can move perpendicular, and we call that a vertical wave. They create different biological effects. And so we have two different pendulums to be able to detect it, and they're fairly simple to use, so they can be set to particular angles, and then you can detect any of the vibrational bands that you care to. To detect the energy of the center, the BG3 energy, we have a particular pendulum that is designed in such a way that it resonates like an antenna with those vibrations. And this not only can be used for design purposes, to design things that have this strong vibration to them, it also can be used to test things that naturally have this energy. So what makes a spiritual power spot in nature is that it has a strong concentration of this universal harmonizing force, the BG3. Every classical tradition is the guardian of particular places on the Earth's surface that are their spiritual power spots. And now you can tell a true power spot from a false one that's been falsely claimed to be one, is that it has a strong concentration of this BG3 vibration if it's a true power spot. In the microcosm of a human body, those power spots appear as the chakras, acupuncture points, cells of the body, all of which naturally have this BG3 energy as well. One of the core concepts is that in the ancient Egyptian temple science, they had a grid pattern that I showed you before, and the 19-level grid was connected to the archetypal energy body of the human being at what we think of in the West today as the causal plane level. But in ancient Egypt, they had different names for these things. But on the causal plane level, this energetic grid was used to pattern out everything on the temple walls so that they had a vibration on the wall, like it was a living being.
BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers phone, video, and live chat.
Now, what I do know, and like I said, I'm going to reserve any thoughts for that, but what I do know is I have stuck a clean sheet of white paper on a speaker, and I put some gunpowder on it, and I turned the speaker on, and as I adjusted the bass and treble, the geometric patterns from the sound created different geometric patterns, and that's what started me in an interest of vibrations and geometry. Is the sound actually created, and you can do this at your house. Take a speaker out of the box and hook it up and stick a clean sheet of paper on it and stick any light substance, a light sand, gunpowder, whatever, something like that, salt, maybe flour, and turn the speaker on and adjust the treble and the bass and see the different geometric patterns that appear. It's kind of cool. It's a type of science that I've never gotten into, but it's very interesting. You guys have a nice evening.